Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is the entity stalking on this side of the street with Omnitrans again. This is where the entity has the fake sun from sunrise till sunset. And that is what is so obvious about what the entity is doing in Upland, California, by the way. This is the pattern of conduct, and this third party is engaging in what is stopping and loading groceries onto the side, on the side of the parking lot the moment that I take a picture of her vehicle, which she's aware of. She's a demon. And she's engaged in surveillance with the government. This is POC. They're an engineered light. You could be loading whatever it is that you think is important. This is the pattern of conduct, license 9BTE 961. And this is where the entity is engaged in psychopathic pacing together. These are the people of the state. They engage in any method of what is pacing in the engineered environment. That's activity creation while the entity is maintaining aerial surveillance. This is relevant to the criminal conduct that I've been documenting at Stater Brothers, which anchors this venue, that are engaged in surveillance, including the demon-possessed employees, the demon-possessed patrons that are all pacing around with the government that's maintaining plane and helicopter. This is exactly where the entity is stalking by helicopter. The demons that conduct themselves as though nothing is happening are the ones that are being committed. All right, they're being federally prosecuted, they're being deported. These are sex offenders that are engaging in that pattern of conduct. The moment that I take a picture, you'll see it on the Google Drive. She's speeding through the parking lot. She immediately stops to engage in what is then pacing, any sort of means of picking up a homeless person and putting their groceries in the vehicle and driving off together. They're the people of the state they're monitoring. All right, that's a pattern of conduct, but it doesn't matter the extent of the relationship. It doesn't matter whether you have some prearranged, organized means of activity, because they do. It's relevant to the pattern of conduct, crossing path in the environment, following where I'm going, doing so as you're seeing that environment which is remaining over me. The fake sun during the day, the fake moon at night, at all times the engineered light, which is not creating multiple shadows under light, under, first of all, the sun, nor in artificial light. This is the entity that's monitoring. And so this is a stalker that's engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they're doing so together. While I've gone through these neighborhoods and I've shown you the vast means of stalking as the airport is, there is no rhyme or reason regarding what they're doing. I've shown what is clear, blatant stalking. As I go to one side of the street, so does the gang stalkers in those commercial planes. As I document them engaging on camera, what no airport, what no government has any defense to regarding, the mentally ill that are demon-possessed gang stalking me by planes, engage in more and more and more of it. And they're doing so pursuant to what is prosecuting that airport for criminally conspiring, every airline conspiring murder, doing so while they have failed. This is the same population that's attending court hearings concerning my money and property, putting insurance policies on me, and I don't even know them, engage in criminal activity, and then seeking to blame me. Again, not only did I not commit it, I don't even know them. They're engaging in stalking together as well as a community, and this community is a sex offender. This community is a vagina monitor. This community is a stalker. These are the demon-possessed in California, and they're also inside of Stater Brothers. All of it's concentrated inside of the venue, just like inside of the Ovid Library, just like inside of the Upland Library. All of this, which they're showing you that they're stalking, the psychopaths go into the grocery store and they're stalking. Okay, this is POC. That's what you're deducing from the entity that is clearly stalking by helicopters and by airplanes, where no airport landings whatsoever have anything to do with what I'm capturing outside. Okay, and this is the entity that's engaged in that while they are obsessively stalking someone whose money they have lost. Not only did they lose my money, but the entity is going to federal prison, and it's going to be a matter of what is a federal prosecution that the government, the corrupt government, left the targeted individual who was clearly endangered by this ongoing elaborate scheme to steal in the first place, and left that targeted individual exposed to this ongoing criminal activity, which was executed by the government. It is insufficient that you're stating, oh, well, you can't keep the money and you have to give it back. That was a criminal act that was committed in the first place. And then they left that American citizen exposed to this system. This is why Jason Fields is not a friend. You're not a friend. The federal government is not a friend. Sitting around watching how I react to poisoning. Sitting around watching what happens when they're battering me and stabbing my feet at night. Sitting around watching the people of the state threaten and steal my property and engage in battery. Criminally summon the gang stalkers of the Ontario police on me while they're stalking me and they're being documented, kidnapping me over and over again. While you are engaging in, well, we gave the money back. No, you didn't. I still do not have my money, and they're still stalking in plain view, and they're watching themselves on the internet, and that is ongoing criminal activity that they then engage in because they're hostile demons. I'm going to prosecute for all of this. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and it is March going into April 2026. The entity engaged in what is kidnapping via criminal defamation in May of 2025. That's what Tracy Banks and the Ontario Police Department and Jason Fields, that's what they thought they pulled off. And I'm prosecuting Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, serving this criminal purpose. Kidnapping to defame in order to get away with stealing my money. Jason Fields is no friend. This is relevant to criminal activity that I remain subject to, and he is literally a feces consumer to even be deluded enough to be under the impression that you can come anywhere near me and that you're going to be viewed as a friend. I'm putting it all over the internet because it is relevant to prosecuting you, not just embarrassing him, but prosecuting him. Okay, you're not turning from by yourself. I don't care what your conscience is telling you. Under the law, the case has already started. You already went too far. You're not going from stealing, conspiring my murder to, oh, I'm your friend now and I just want to give this to you outside of a court informally while you're still being gang stalked, and I'm hoping that you don't press charges. These are demons that are going to prison. It is currently 6:32 a.m. at the Ontario Village Shopping Center where they're monitoring. This is P.O.C. P.O.C.